What is up, boys? NA Scaled, and in this video, I'm about to be teaching you guys how to actually do outreach because a lot of you guys are DMing me like, yo, no, Keith, how do I get clients, bro? How am I gonna DM these guys? I have 0 followers, I have 10 followers. Like, dude, I promise you, once you watch this video, you're gonna actually understand, how you could actually get DMs and how I'm able to generate payouts like this and this. And at the end of the video, inshallah, you guys are gonna learn how to actually do, proper outreach, what exactly you're going to be DMing these guys. And if you guys want to learn more, make sure you click the like button, comment, inshallah, I'll reply. And follow me on Instagram for sure because I'll respond. I'll try my best to actually respond to you. But yeah, let's get straight into this video. This video, you guys are going to actually understand, right, how to start real conversations with, these coaches and creators you guys are actually going to be reaching out to, right? Oh yeah, also for any new guys that are watching this video, I would really still recommend that you still watch this video because outreach in general is kind of simple, right? I wouldn't say this is specific to only growth operating. This kind of, it's kind of helps my growth operating guys to actually understand how to do outreach. But, if you're still here to learn how to do outreach, I would still recommend you actually stay here, okay? So, and as well as for any of the guys who actually know me and, have already, you're trying to get into growth operating, watch the free course that I made. Watch the free course I actually made because you're not really gonna understand, the fundamentals that I'm gonna be teaching for outreach. So definitely go check that out before you actually continue with this video. So yeah, in this video, I'm gonna be teaching you guys how to actually get convos, right? Out of these coaches and creators, so that eventually we can book them into a call and actually make money. So I'm gonna show you guys the simple 3-step method that I actually use to actually print off of these guys. So who are we going to be outreaching to, right? What guys are we going to find? So there's a lot of niches. So let's say fitness. So there could be fitness coaches. There could be, business coaches like e-commerce, drop shipping, high-ticket sales, real estate creators, and YouTubers as well. So, when it comes down to outreach, we either reach out to, creators or we could reach out to coaches. And you can find these guys on any type of platform, right? You can find them on Instagram. You can find them on TikTok. You can find them on YouTube as well. So when it comes to, finding businesses, you usually want to go through social media platforms. Don't limit yourself to only Instagram. A lot of guys that I know limit themselves to to only finding leads on Instagram, but you can find these guys on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. So don't limit yourself as well when it comes to outreach. So a lot of you guys have probably tried to do outreach and may have been wondering why your outreach is not good, right? So a lot of the times why outreach might not work for you guys is because you guys are going in with the whole purpose of just trying to pitch these guys. The whole point of when you do outreach is to not pitch. Like, you shouldn't immediately go up and be like, "Yo, bro, I saw your page, blah blah blah." Like, you should not start pitching in the first 2 messages. Like, don't start pitching in the first 2 messages. The whole point of to actually get these guys to be your clients is to start off the convo by making them know that you're not a sales guy. Like, you're not trying to make it look like you're a simple guy. Make it look like you're a simple person trying to reach out. You might compliment them. Like, act human. That's the whole point. And then eventually you understand their gaps in their thing, and then after that, you offer some insight on how they can fix it. So, most of the time, content creators are not going to respond to sales messages. So if you tell them like, "Yo, bro, I help with this," they're not going to respond. So keep it simple with outreach. Don't ever pitch in the first few messages. Keep it simple. So here's some bad examples, right? So when you're texting a guy, you can't be like, "Yo, bro, I could get you clients," or be like, "Oh, I help creators scale. You want to call?" And never ever ever DM people with a big paragraph. I see people making a big mistake of where they try to pitch in one message. You don't ever want to do that, and nobody has the time to read a big message. Sorry for the language, but nobody has time to read a big message. Like, I don't see myself, I've had people DM me, and I would never ever open a message, of someone typing a paragraph on how they're gonna help me. Like, dude, at least try to build a connection, okay? So the whole point of when you do outreach is to build a connection. So you don't want to send them big messages. You don't want to send them an essay of your offer, how you're gonna help them, make tens of thousands of dollars. Like, they're gonna think that's fake. They're not gonna think you're real. They're gonna think you're really unserious, and it looks hella spammy, bro. You don't want to look spammy. You don't want to look like every other person, every other sales guy trying to do outreach. You want to look different, okay? And here are some examples of some actual good outreach, right? Hit them up. Keep it simple, okay? The best outreach is the most simple outreach, you know? It can be something as casual as, yo, bro, you're an inspiration. Like, it can be as anything to start the convo. The whole point of when you do outreach is actually at least get their attention within the first message. That's the whole point when you do outreach. Forget about, having to pitch them. Your main goal of when you actually do outreach is to actually get their attention within your first message. So hit them up with something simple. Be like, yo, bro, your content is fire. Curious, are you trying to convert more viewers into coaching clients, or you're mainly growing your brand? Or, you could be like, solid content, bro. Genuine question, are you trying to turn your short form content into high ticket clients, or, are you mainly just doing content for fun? Like, the whole point of, like, I might give you these examples. I don't expect you to actually use this, but the whole point of outreach, actual good outreach, is to keep it as simple as possible. And I can't stress this enough. A lot of guys might send paragraphs. It's never going to work. So best outreach is always the most simple outreach. Think about pitching later. Your main goal is to actually get their attention in the first place. Because if you can't get their attention, how are you going to pitch, right? How are you going to get them into a call? How are you going to eventually book them into your client? You can never do that if you never get their attention within the first couple of messages. So that's the main goal. So a simple step, right? A simple method to actually, book these guys is to first identify what their gap is, okay? Once you get their attention, you have to understand what they're doing wrong. Is it a VSL problem? They don't have a VSL to get, mentorship clients. Does their content suck? Do they have no, CTAs? Do they have no, what's it called? Do the hooks suck, right? Does the hook suck? Is there no emotional connection with his audience, right? Help him out. You can help him out with his content, how to get better views. Let's say he's struggling with what? Let's say he's struggling with automation, okay? You might notice him answering all of his DMs. You can help him out with that too. So a simple method, eventually once you get their attention, the most simplest way to actually put this out, after you get their attention is first identify what they're doing wrong, right? So you got their attention, identify what they're doing wrong. You're normally supposed to do this before you actually do outreach, so identify what they're doing wrong, right? Is it a VSL problem? Does he have no VSL to get mentorship clients? If you guys don't know what VSL is, I already explained everything. I already explained what a funnel is in the Growth Operating course. If you don't understand, click off this video and then come back, because you guys are not going to understand what I'm saying. So, is it a VSL problem? Is it a content problem? Is he getting no views? Does his emotional hook suck, right? Is there no emotional connection within the video? Is there no CTAs, for the audience to actually take action? Is he overall missing a system? Right? That's what you do first. And then the second step is tell him that you could show him, right? Tell him, hey bro, what we can do is, right, I actually noticed a bunch of things after you eventually tell them what they're doing wrong. You tell them a little insight. Tell them, I can show you what you're doing wrong. Let's hop on a little call, and then I'll show you what you're doing wrong and how we can fix this, right? Tell them a little bit of insight. Main goal, after you tell them what they're doing wrong, get them on a call. Eventually, third step, transition smoothly into saying yo bro, okay, I'll book you in for Wednesday, I'll book you in for Tuesday. Just book them in a call. A lot of guys make outreach super complicated. It's really this simple, see what they're doing wrong, tell them how you're gonna fix it, book them in a meeting. It's really that simple. This is all, this is literally all that potential clients actually need, right? So if you're getting their attention, if you're building connection, throughout your messages, if you're keeping it simple, and you're telling them what they're doing wrong, what they're doing wrong, and then eventually you could book them into a call. It's really that simple. I know I'm probably yapping a lot, showing this gamma. So what is better than actually giving you a better explanation, right? So let me go on Instagram right now, and I'm gonna show you an explanation. All right. So once you get to Instagram, right, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go over to the search and just search up, right? Let's do high ticket sales. Okay, so we enter in high ticket sales, then, why is it not loading? Okay, my bad. And then eventually you're gonna get a bunch of people like this, right? So these are all high ticket sales guys. So you're gonna click on someone, let's do this guy, okay? So let's go to his profile. And then once we get to his profile, right, what is the first thing we notice here? So over here, when we go to his profile, This guy, he has almost 20K followers. We can easily make this dude print, okay? So we can hit him up. We can hit him up. We can be like, yo, bro, yo, what's good? Okay, I'm gonna DM him right now, but the first thing you notice about his page is that this dude has no VSL. He doesn't have a VSL funnel. He doesn't have any sort of funnel. He doesn't have any form or any sort of way to actually print off his content. He's getting decent. He has decent content, and he has tons of views. Right? He's getting pretty. He has tons of followers. I mean, right? He has tons of followers, and he's made almost $2 million in high ticket sales. So this dude, he can print off of a mentorship. So let's hit him up right now. We could be like, yo, bro, you're an inspiration. See, it's really that simple. Just hit him up with something simple, okay? It doesn't matter what you say. Outreach is always different, okay? So even if, you do the same message as me, it's not going to work the same for you because, a lot of things play into, play into a role, right? Let's say like content, right? Because I usually end up getting a lot of, DMs and all because of my content. So a lot of things play into a role. So even if, someone else's outreach is doing very well, that outreach is not going to work the same for you. So like I said, outreach is always different for everybody. Let me show you guys another example. So give me a second. So another example, right? Over here we got a day trader. So I hit him up. I was like, yo, you're an inspiration, bro. Then he actually feels connected. He actually feels like I hit him in the heart. So he says, oh, I know I'm like over exaggerating, but like, he replies back. He says, thanks, brother. I appreciate it. God bless. And then I eventually continue the convo. What got you into trading? This is where, you build a little bit of a connection, okay? Like I said, my outreach is not going to work the same for you guys. But, I do really, really recommend just playing around with your outreach. And, guys, I'm going to be honest, like, not a lot of guys are actually going to drop sauce like this. So, take this to your advantage. Go and actually implement, the outreach info that I'm actually dropping for you guys. So go and actually implement this, obviously I might give you all this free knowledge, but what's better than, actually like implementing all this stuff, right? So go and actually try out. So the whole point, be simple, build a connection, get them on a call, and, sign that client, man. It's really that simple. And I can't really stress that enough. I can't really stress it enough. But yeah, guys, that is the end of the video. I better not get a single DM of anybody asking me, how do I do outreach? Nikki, what DMs do you send out? How do you do it? What is the process? I literally showed you all my secrets. Well, not every single secret. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot more that you guys don't know. But if you want to learn more on how I actually do, DMs and what exactly growth operating is, you can click the link down below to work with me. And as well as there's a free Discord link. Check that out. Make sure you guys hit that bell, the subscribe button. And I'm going to be dropping hella sauce on this YouTube channel, some lifestyle content, inshallah. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, DM me, I'll try to get back to you guys. I kind of suck with replying. But yeah, as of now, I'm going to see y'all later. Assalamu alaikum.